think so.
Oh, no, I don't have it.
Yes, that was just now. My almost apparently are not.
Rise. Morning, everyone. Please be seated. Court's in session. We're on the record. State of New Mexico versus Felipe Hernandez, D 307 CR 2024-00009. Mr. Medina, Mr. Macias, good morning. Any preliminary matters from the state?
None from the state, Your Honor.
Mr. Lahan, good morning.
Good morning.
Any preliminary matters?
No.
All right. Agent Norris is here in the courtroom. Agent Norris, go ahead and come up to the witness box. Yes, sir. Okay. Fair enough. Mr. Lahan, Mr. Medina, Mr. Macias, approach, please. Josh, go ahead and bring it. All right. Morning, everyone. Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, good morning. Welcome back. Raise your hand. Normal questions from the court. Anybody talk to you about the case? Anybody, did you talk to anybody about the case? Good. Raise your hand if you saw any news accounts, media accounts regarding the case, read anything. And raise your hand if you did your own independent research about anything you've heard during the trial. All right, for the record, the jurors have not raised their hands to the court's questions. Ladies and gentlemen, we recessed yesterday as Mr. Norris completed his testimony for the state. At this time, Mr. Lahan has the opportunity to do cross-examination. Mr. Lahan, do you have questions for this witness?
Yes, Your Honor.
Agent Norris, I'll remind you that I swore you in yesterday, so you remain under oath for your testimony today.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Okay. Is it on?
It's coming
Okay.
up. Do you need the screen in front of you, Mr. Lahan?
No, I'll deal. I'm okay.
Okay.
And good morning, Agent Norris.
Good morning.
Things have come a long way since the roller tape and the chalk marks on the pavement, right?
Yes, sir.
The technology really is fascinating. And to the point of the technology, my understanding of your testimony yesterday is that you kind of did two sets of analysis here. One, and correct me if I'm wrong, but one set was things as they actually were that you could observe on the morning that you were out there with the laser instrument. And you were able to get to the tune of 2 million data points. You were able to get precise measurements of where a shell casing was, where a tire mark was, and that you're pretty confident that is a certain depiction of the scene as it was.
Yes, sir.
Is that fair to say?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is it also fair to say that the second part of your analysis was kind of an extrapolation that you even labeled some of the things that you have in here? You say approximated vehicle location. I'm showing exhibit 28, and for the record, I was just showing exhibit 20, state's exhibit 26. I'm now showing state's exhibit 28. And you say approximated vehicle location for Ms. Gomez's vehicle. And that's because Ms. Gomez's vehicle was not in the parking spot when you arrived that morning.
That is correct.
Okay. And you say for the silver Jaguar, we have no question. That's where it was, because that's where it was that night, and it was still there that morning when you arrived.
Correct.
But for the other vehicle, you've kind of, I want to say Photoshop, that's kind of I know it's more technical than that. But you plugged in the car and you say, and to your credit, thank you, you say approximated vehicle location. That means you can't be as 100% certain that that car was exactly in that position.
Correct.
You did a great job in terms of the pavement. I get all that, but anywhere when the jury takes these exhibits back to the deliberation, anytime they see approximated, that means it was your best educated guess.
Based on the evidence, yes, it was my best effort on that.
Sure. Okay, and we appreciate that. All right, and for Felipe's path, and I'm showing exhibit 29. That's probably the most where you're approximating the most, correct? You don't have an exact starting point for Felipe that you could tell from the scene that morning.
There's no physical evidence. That was based primarily on the video.
Okay, and looking at the video and trying to, I guess, triangulate where other objects are at. And a big part of your approximated officer path was an indentation. I don't have the exhibit, but it's an exhibit in evidence, but you noticed yesterday in your testimony an indentation in the driveway area that you said seemed to be from Officer Hernandez, maybe some kind of pivot or kind of digging into the ground. Do you remember that testimony?
I remember stating there were two disturbances in the ground that appeared recent.
Okay. And I appreciate the language that you're using. You said it appeared to be recent. You can't 100% say that Felipe Hernandez did cause either of those two scuffs.
Not with 100% certainty, no.
Okay. You're taking in the totality of everything that you know about what happened. And it seems that that probably is Felipe Hernandez pivoting or something based upon, I think you said yesterday, its appearance, whether it looked weathered, that kind of thing. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. And this incident, the morning you were out there, was about this time of year.
Correct.
2 years ago. And from the photograph, certainly, it seems to be as beautiful and lovely as it is outside right now.
Sure.
Okay. And you were there, I wasn't, so correct me if I'm wrong. It wasn't raining, it wasn't a big dust storm moving through. It was a calm day when you were out there.
To my recollection.
Okay. And you cannot say with 100% certainty that somebody else did not create that little scuff mark in the ground.
Correct.
It could have been caused by somebody an hour before this incident happened. Somebody else, you know, there's lots of people in that neighborhood. Somebody else in that parking lot could have caused that scuff.
That's a possibility.
And it would have looked the same the next morning to you, correct?
Probably.
Okay. Okay. Now I want to go back and we see it here in State's Exhibit 29. It looks like the car door is sprung open for Ms. Gomez's car.
Yes.
And we see it more clearly, I think, in 28. The car door sprung open. Is that right?
Yes.
And was that the condition that the car was in?
That was the condition that the car was in when we documented it, yes.
Was any attempt made to shut that door?
Later on, there was an attempt made to shut the door, but to my knowledge, it was left open until we were done with our full documentation of it.
Okay. Do you know whether or not that door, whether there was difficulty in shutting that door?
That's my understanding. I didn't directly observe what when folks were working on that. I was doing some other work, but in our discussions afterward, yes, there was difficulty in shutting that door.
And you know from the video that you reviewed that the car door had no difficulty opening or shutting from Ms. Gomez getting out of the car. She was able to open the door and get out. So it certainly opened, and it was shut when Officer Hernandez first approached the vehicle, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So, and then after the incident, the door sprung a little bit. Okay, and just one final thing, going back to what you're approximating as Officer Hernandez's path. If those scuff marks turned out to be not, let's say that we had somebody come in and they say, no, I did that. I remember making that scuff mark. I was mad. I was kicking at the ground. Then that would throw your whole calculation off.
I wouldn't say it would throw it off. I would say that the path could be adjusted to some degree, but he began in a spot and he ended in a spot. Those are two pretty clear bookends. There is room for adjustment if new evidence comes to light on the path getting from point A to point B, but it wouldn't throw it off out totally.
Sure, not throw it off in terms of being as wrong as putting on the map that he was at the Walgreens. You know, if you'd done a path for Felipe from here to Walgreens, that would be completely off, have no sense whatsoever if your output had been that. So, but still, it's just the best guess based upon a couple of data points and the video, but it's not 100% certain.
No, it wouldn't be 100%.
Okay, pass the witness, Judge.
Thank you, Mr. Lawon. Mr. Medina, any redirect of this witness?
Yes, Judge. All right. Agent Norris, I think the jury understands that your reconstruction is your best estimation of what happened. Can you just help me understand the steps that you take to ensure that your reconstructions are reliable?
Yes. So when you're working a reconstruction, you're trying to take into account all the evidence that you have available to you. You're trying to place it into its individual place in the context so that you have the best understanding of what's going on. A reconstruction is very much like putting a puzzle together. The difference with an actual puzzle is you don't have the original picture and you probably don't have a good chunk of the actual pieces. But you're going through and you're trying to examine each individual piece and try to understand where it's going. And there's going to be some flexibility in some elements of that. But the goal is to take everything in its context to introduce reasoning, deductive and inductive reasoning, and scientific method where those methods are appropriate, and to really unveil the clearest picture of the events as they occurred, understanding that not being there, not having all of the evidence, not having every aspect of information, that there's going to be some areas where it's not going to be 100% accurate.
Okay. So we heard a little bit about the 3D model, or the 3D modeler that you use and all of the data points that it creates. Do you take that data and your reconstruction is based on that alone, or do you synthesize that with your measurements, your photographs on the scene and the video and other pieces of your investigation?
It's a holistic process. You're trying to take into account everything that you have. The 3D scanning provides a tremendous amount of measurement data so that you can put things in their proper place. It allows me to utilize that. So when the vehicle was put at the various locations, that's actual a digital reintroduction of the digital vehicle itself at those places based on things that I saw in the video, based on any other evidence that I may have seen, such as the tire impressions, the scuffs or disturbances, or bloodstain patterns. But yeah, it's a holistic process where you're trying to incorporate everything that you have available to you.
All right, so you're not only relying on the impressions on the dirt, right?
No.
Are you relying only on the video?
No.
Are you relying only on the 3D scans?
No.
Are you relying only on your measurements on scene?
No.
Or only on or only on the info from the 3D scans, or only on impressions from the dirt?
No.
You're taking all of that various information from all of those sources and synthesizing that into your reconstruction. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And so would you classify that your reconstruction is based on a lot of data, or would it be closer to just like a couple of data points?
I would say it's based on quite a bit of data across the spread of all available evidence.
Okay. So I want to talk to you a little bit about the shoe impressions. Or I'm sorry, the impressions that you attributed to the defendant basically walking through the scene.
Yes.
On the cross-examination, you indicated that it's not outside the realm of possibility that that might have been left by somebody prior to this incident.
I can't rule that out, correct.
Okay. But those disturbances in the ground, were they, you described that they were fresh.
Yes.
And just help me understand, and let me, if I can retrieve the exhibit, Judge.
You may.
So I'm going to make reference here to states number 6, displayed on your screen. So what is it about this impression left in the dirt helps you understand that this impression is fresh?
So when you're looking at the impression, in contrast or comparison to the surrounding area, there's a clear disturbance. You can see that there has been dirt that has been kicked up towards the top of the image, that everything appears recently disturbed rather than, and I don't see really in this image a suitable example to compare against that would have the appearance of age. But really the gravel area itself has the appearance of age and use and you know, have been established there for a while. This is new in that immediate area. What you don't see down in the lower aspect of that impression is anything that could have been kicked or blown into it after the fact. No dry vegetation or anything else. It has the appearance of a relatively recent disturbance.
Okay. So as part of your investigation, I'm going to make reference here to states number 29. And this shows the area around where the shooting happened, correct?
Correct.
When you're getting ready to create your reconstruction, or when you're investigating on scene, do you look in the entirety of this area for similar disturbances?
Yes, looked all throughout the area, and it was a concern to me when I was looking at those, if there was another explanation for them. And I remember reviewing the video in its entirety, you know, to see when Mr. Hernandez returned back to the scene to retrieve other items, if he walked through that area, if I had any information to suggest anyone else was walking through that area. And nothing that I had available to me suggested that. Furthermore, as I mentioned earlier, you have a beginning and an ending. And if there was a major move outside of that generalized path to incorporate those impressions, that wouldn't seem to be consistent with the action that was depicted on the video, where it was a movement along more or less with the movement of the vehicle, especially in those first few feet. And that path seemed to be consistent with incorporating where those impressions were. It appeared to me in watching the video that the movement of Mr. Hernandez was not a smooth gait, because initially there was the interaction with the door, there was movement along with that, and there was you know, the movement associated with transferring things from one hand to another. And so it's not as though it was just a smooth walking gait. The irregular appearance of those disturbances seemed consistent with someone who was trying to keep moving along and under those circumstances. And so it all fit in a general context of everything that I had seen.
All right, so what I had on the screen there was states 29. I'm gonna move back to states number 6. So if this disturbance, Agent Norris, had been there prior to Felipe Hernandez being on scene, would you have expected would you have expected what you observed on video to have disturbed this mark?
It's a good possibility it could have disturbed that mark if it was pre-existing.
Okay. And making reference again to states 29, you didn't see any other similar disturbances in the remainder of this parking area here?
No, sir.
Okay. So, Agent Norris, in your expert opinion, this image here depicted on state 6, was that created by the defendant during this interaction?
I believe that's the best explanation of the evidence.
Okay. So, again, in your expert opinion here, making reference again to states 29, this vehicle path, you're confident that this vehicle path is accurate in your expert opinion?
Yes.
And you're confident that this approximated officer path is accurate in your expert opinion?
Yes, best explanation of the evidence.
Okay. The best explanation of this evidence is that this is the path that the officer traveled from the point he began to the point where you found the disturbances to the point ultimately where the shots are fired.
Correct.
And in your expert opinion, at the time these shots were fired, he was outside of the range of the door. Is that right?
Yes.
So at the time these shots were fired, in your expert opinion, was he in any imminent danger at the time that those shots were fired?
I do not see that.
All right. Thank you, Agent Norris. Excuse me if I could have a second.
You may have a moment.
All right. Thank you, Your Honor. I don't have any further questions. I'll return these to the exhibit table.
Thank you. Mr. Lahan, any recross?
Just a couple of questions.
You may. Did you need the doc cam still?
I don't know how to turn it off. Yeah, there we go.
I can leave it.
Mr. Medina's got it.
You just
Old dogs, Judge.
pull on that.
Old dogs. All right, Agent, are you certified as a shoe print or boot print expert?
Examiner, no.
Okay, examiner expert. You understand that that is a specific forensic science?
Yes.
Okay. Even though you're not an expert, can you say with certainty whether or not there were any tread marks, shoe tread marks in those indentations?
I did not see any.
Okay. Now, you said that Officer Hernandez was moving along with the vehicle in those first few moments. That seems to imply, a voluntary action. But the truth is, the car door, if this is the car, or let's say this is the car door. Yeah, that's perfect. This is the car door. Let's say this is the car right here. Officer Hernandez is standing here. While the car is backing up, because of the Jaguar right behind Officer Hernandez, he can't just back up and let the car pass by. He has to move along with the car in order not to be knocked down by the door. Is that correct?
Correct.
So it wasn't a voluntary movement by Officer Hernandez. It was caused by the situation.
In those initial moments, yes.
Okay, thank you. No further questions.
Thank you, Mr. Lahan. Mr. Medina, anything else?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Any members of the jury have questions for this witness? Not seeing anybody. Mr. Medina, did you want him subject to recall or?
Yes, please, Your Honor.
All right. Agent Norris, thank you for your testimony. You are being subject to recall. Please do not discuss your testimony with any other witnesses. You may discuss your testimony with all the attorneys so long as they're all present. We may call you back later in trial. Thank you, Agent Norris. Mr. Medina.
Thank you, Your Honor. The state rests.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard that the state of New Mexico has rested their case at this point. So there's a time in this trial where I need to speak with the attorneys outside your presence. So I'm going to give you an early morning break this morning. Hope to have you back here in 10 minutes, maybe shorter. So please stand for this jury while we take a break. Excuse the jury from the courtroom. Please be seated. The state of New Mexico having rested Mr. Lahan.
Yes, Your Honor, I make a motion for a directed verdict of acquittal. I won't be presenting argument.
Thank you. Who wishes to respond for the state?
I will, Your Honor.
Mr. Medina.
We're opposed to the motion. May I take the podium, Your Honor?
You may take the podium.
Your Honor, our standard at this point is that the evidence must be viewed in the light most favorable to the state. The elements of second-degree murder being that the defendant killed the victim. I don't think that's in dispute. And that the defendant, at the time he took the actions, knew that his actions created a risk of death or great bodily harm. I don't believe that I don't believe that that's in dispute either, quite frankly. In the light most favorable to the state at this point, we have carried our burden. We'd ask that the court deny the motion. Thank you.
Thank you. On defense motion for directed verdict, the court denies the motion for directed verdict. At this point, in the light most favorable to the state, based on the totality of the evidence presented thus far, the court believes there's sufficient evidence for this jury to have the be the trier of facts in this case and have this charge submitted to the jury for their consideration. All right, Mr. Lahan, did the defense intend to present any evidence or testimony in this case?
Yes, we do.
All right, are you ready with your witnesses? You need a moment?
I would prefer a break.
Okay.
Yes, Judge, if we can have a short break.
5 minutes?
Yes.
5 minute recess, everybody. Josh, make sure everybody has water in their breaths.
All right.
Josh, will you line up the jurors, please? Yes.
Your Honor,
Judge.
before you return the jury, may we approach, please?
Sure. All right, we're back on the record. This announcement is to the members in the gallery. It has been brought to my attention that there may be some interaction and contact during recess breaks between the individuals for Mr. Hernandez who are here in support of him, and of course, people are here in support of the decedent, Ms. Gomez. There is an order on my courtroom door. If you have not read that order or seen that order, I suggest you take the next recess opportunity to view it. I did ask for laminated copies of that order to be available. So if are they in here, Josh? All right, go ahead and take it to the first person in the first seat. And I'll ask that everybody get an opportunity to read that order, pass it down to the next individual. This is your one and final warning. I'm going to have security pull video feed from the hallway. If I identify individuals who I believe have not complied with this decorum order, I will bring you before this court. I have the authority to issue an indirect contempt of court if it's not done in my presence. And I will take appropriate action. I've been fortunate that everything that's been occurring in the courtroom has been done with the decorum and respect that this matter deserves, any matter deserves. So I'm asking all of you to follow this order. If anybody cannot follow this order, then I would recommend that you leave the courthouse. We do have this court proceeding available on Google Meets, where you can watch a video feed of the testimony from the witness box. And during closing arguments, you'll see the video feed from the podium so that you can watch the proceedings as they continue. All right. That being said, are we ready to bring in the jury, Mr. Medina?
State's ready.
Mr. Lahan,
Yes, Your Honor.
please bring in the jury. All rise for the jury. Sir, you can pass that down to the next person. Please be seated, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, welcome back from the recess. At this time, you've heard the state rest. At this time, the defense has an opportunity to present evidence and testimony in this case. However, they are not required to do so because the defendant has the presumption of innocence. The burden is on the state to prove the charge beyond a reasonable doubt. Mr. Lahan, did you wish to present the evidence and testimony in this case?
Yes.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I also want to make another announcement or explanation. At the beginning of the trial, we started with opening statements. Prior to giving opening statements, I asked the attorneys outside your presence, how much time do you need for opening statements? Both parties agreed 30 minutes would be sufficient. After opening statements, the defense brought to my attention that I may have miscalculated my 5-minute warning. And I went back and looked at it, and sure enough, I did. So in fairness, I have decided to give the defense an opportunity to give a supplemental opening statement at this time, which I'm going to allow them to do so. The defense will have an additional 15 minutes to do an opening statement. At this point, I will remind you what is said in opening statements is not evidence. It is simply, again, the opportunity for an attorney to tell you what they believe the evidence will show. Mr. Lahan, when you're ready, you've got 15 minutes.
Thank you. I appreciate the court recognizing, you may have noticed my opening statement was very rushed at the end, so we appreciate the court giving me this additional time. I'm not going to take 15 minutes. You guys know the issues. You've been watching this trial. I know you've been paying close attention. I know that you know what the key issue in this case is. So I don't need 15 minutes to tell you that. What I'm going to tell you is that despite what Judge Hawk has told you at the beginning of this trial, and despite what I told you about everybody has a right to remain silent, and maybe you're not going to hear from Felipe Hernandez in this trial, there's no way I can stop him from getting up on the witness stand. It's been 2 years. He is ready, willing, and anxious to finally tell his story to people who will give him a fair shake. That's all I ask. After you hear from Felipe Hernandez, then you're going to hear from Barry Broad. Barry Broad's been sitting here watching the expert testimony in this case. Mr. Broad is also an expert witness in the field of police use of force. And he will explain the reasonableness of Felipe Hernandez's actions on October 3rd, 2023. So I ask that you again keep that open mind and remember to consider the totality of the circumstances. No matter how hard the state tries to funnel this down to just a second or two before the trigger is pulled, we believe that after you've heard the testimony, and consider all the testimony that you've heard in this case, and after you consider the law, Judge, this is a whole new setup, courtroom setup. We've got brand new technology, and I'm still stumbling over it. But I am convinced that if you keep that open mind and listen to the testimony, consider the previous testimony, and consider the law that Judge Hawkins will read to you and hand to you at the end of this case, I'm convinced that you will find that this was a justifiable homicide. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hahn. Mr. Hahn, will you announce the name of your first witness?
Yes, Felipe Hernandez.
Mr. Hernandez, please come to the witness stand. Good morning. Could you please raise your right hand? Do you promise or affirm that any testimony you give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under penalty of law? Thank you. Please have a seat, sir.
And good morning. We'll let you get set up here. Thank you. Could you please introduce yourself to the jury?
My name is Felipe Hernandez Jr.,
And how old are you?
45 years old.
And are you married?
I am married.
Do you have children?
I have one son
And where do you live?
here in Las Cruces.
How long have you lived in Las Cruces?
I moved back here in 2008 after living in Colorado Springs after getting out of the military.
Okay, did you grow up here in Las Cruces?
Born and raised, yeah.
Graduated high school here?
Yes, only after high school,
What year?
1998.
What'd you do after 1998?
I worked at Memorial Medical Center and Orion's Tavern. It was a restaurant there in the Cedar Valley Mall for
Sure.
a few years.
Sure. And after that?
I decided to join the military,
Okay. You say military, which branch?
Army.
And what year you enlist?
I enlisted April 5th, 2001.
Shortly before 9/11.
Yes,
Which branch? I'm sorry.
Army.
Okay, I asked you that. And were you deployed?
Yes, I was.
And where were you deployed to?
I was deployed to Iraq, Fallujah, Tikrit, Ramadi area.
And what year were you deployed?
I was deployed. I was actually stop lost in 2003. So from May 2003 until October 31st, 2004 is when I got home.
Okay. And stop loss, could you tell the jury what that means?
Yeah, so if you're in the military and you're about to retire, move to a different duty station, or actually get out, stop loss means you're just gonna stay right where you're at for government purposes, war, natural disaster, or something like that.
And was the stop loss related to our invasion of Iraq?
That is correct.
Okay. And you were in fact deployed to Iraq.
Yes, I was.
Were you engaged in combat there?
Yes, I was.
And what was your assignment, what job title in the Army?
My job title in the Army was the 19 Delta. I was a Cap Scout, basically reconnaissance. We go out, find the enemy, radio it in, stuff like that.
Did you decide to leave the military after that stop loss period?
Yes, I did.
When you came back from Iraq, where did you end up living?
I ended up ETSing, getting out of the military in Colorado Springs, Colorado.
Okay. And what did you do in Colorado Springs after you got out of the Army?
I first worked for a company called StressCon, which is concrete fabrication. They basically make bridge pillars with stressed cables in them. I also worked Home Depot for about 6 months, and then I got hired on as a civilian for the sheriff department, intake and release technician, and then I was asked by Sheriff Makita to join the Sheriff's Academy.
Okay. And did you go through the Sheriff's Academy in Colorado Springs?
I did. I was a certified deputy, graduated from class 06-02.
And were you then certified as a peace officer in Colorado?
I was, yes.
And how long did you continue working for the Sheriff's Department in Colorado?
Roughly about 3 years.
Okay.
About 3 years.
And were your general duties patrol or?
No, so in Colorado, there's a state statute that says if you work for the sheriff's department, the jail is manned by the sheriff's department. That's his primary duty. So you have to do 2 years automatically in the jail. If you want to go to patrol, you have to actually do an oral board and test out to go to patrol, but I spend my time in the jail.
Okay. I'm sorry to backtrack for just a second. It did come up yesterday. Were you ever diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder following your tour in Iraq?
I was, yes.
Okay. And do you recall when you were diagnosed?
I believe it was in the winter, February of 05 when I returned back.
And are you still being treated?
Yes,
Is that through the Veterans Administration?
correct.
And the Veterans Administration provides medical care to veterans? Is that
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Did there come a point where you decided to move to Las Cruces?
Yeah, I decided to move back to Las Cruces, I'm sorry, because my great grandmother who raised me just passed away. So I just wanted to be closer to family at that time.
Okay. And were you married at that time?
I was, yes.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry. I was recently divorced at that time. Sorry.
Okay, okay. And so you moved back here, what year, 2008?
2008, 2009.
And did you become employed with another law enforcement agency after you moved here?
I worked at the county jail.
Okay. And how long did you work there?
Roughly 2 years, 3 years.
Okay. And after that, where?
I worked for the court security transport here at the district courthouse.
Okay. And I'm sure the jury, we've all seen deputies wearing uniforms in the courthouse. Is that what you did?
Yes, and I also transported inmates across the county, or the state, I should say, or the United States.
Okay. And at some point, did you become employed with Las Cruces Police Department?
Yes, I applied for the police department cadet position and started the academy in 2015, September of 2015.
As part of your application with the Las Cruces Police Department, did you make them aware that you had been diagnosed with PTSD?
Yes, I let Pete DeBosto know.
Who's that?
He's the psychiatrist, I guess, that does the interviews for new applicants.
Okay.
And I had informed them that I was diagnosed with PTSD coming out of the military.
Okay. And in spite of that, were you still hired by LCPD?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Was any special accommodation given to you? Only be allowed to have one bullet in the gun like Barney Fife, or
No,
Were any restrictions placed upon you?
no,
And did you go through the Las Cruces Police Department Academy?
I did.
And during your academy certification, were you trained on the use of force?
Yes, I was.
And were you trained on the use of firearms?
Yes,
Did you also receive that training in Colorado Springs?
yes,
Did you receive firearms training when you went into the military?
yes,
Were you trained in any of those situations on shoot, don't shoot scenarios?
yes.
Could you describe to the jury what a shoot, don't shoot scenario is?
Basically, time to discharge a weapon is when you feel like you're in danger, or your life's gonna be taken, you're gonna be seriously hurt, or somebody else is in danger. Some of the scenarios we used for Iraq, before we got deployed to Iraq was, there's, and I don't like to use this word, but there is a BAF member who's strapped in bombs or something and they're running at you, shoot them, type stuff like that.
Okay. So you receive training as best they can to try to give you real life scenarios. Is that what I'm
Try to
picking up?
prepare yourself for different scenarios, yes.
So your time in Fallujah, Iraq, I mean, my understanding of it, and it sounds like your description of it, that was a difficult military mission because of the mixture of the civilian population. Is that right?
Yeah, so in Fallujah, there were known Iraqi armies who basically took off the uniform.
Gonna object to relevance, Your Honor.
Mr. Long,
Just a general question about, it's just general background information.
I'll give you a little bit more latitude. You may continue. Objections overruled for the record.
I'm sorry, what was the question again?
The situation in Fallujah, for example, was a mixed civilian population, and how did that create problems?
Yeah, we couldn't dictate who was military and who were civilians. So when we would do patrols, you have the IEDs on the side of the road, or you would have people that would take pop shots at you and stuff like that. And because you're not supposed to use religious areas for combat, so to speak, based on the religion, we were getting pop shots from the mosques, stuff like that.
And just one more follow-up. I know that when we watch on TV and we see war, it's all out war, two groups in uniforms doing the best they can to kill each other. But in Iraq, is it fair to say that wasn't always easy to tell who was the threat?
No, you couldn't tell.
All right, so Las Cruces Police Academy. What year did you finish that academy?
February of 2016.
Okay. And did that automatically certify you as a peace officer in the state of New Mexico?
Yes, it did.
And did you keep that certification current all the way up through October 3rd, 2023?
That is correct. Yes, I did.
And as part of keeping that certification current, do you have yearly training or educational requirements?
Whatever the department put things out, such as biennium training for firearms, defensive tactics, case law changes, we're always signed up to go to those.
Were you tested on firearms training at least once a year?
Yes.
And at Las Cruces Police Department, where'd you start out?
Started off on patrol, graveyards.
Okay,
Oh,
and-
I'm sorry, I apologize. The FTO program, I started off on. After I was done with the FTO program, I ended up on graveyards.
okay. And could you describe to the jury what you mean by FTO program?
You're basically right around with different officers from different shifts for 1 month. They try to get you into different things that happen on certain shifts of the day. So for like swings, you might have a lot of domestics or something like that. Graveyards, you might deal with a lot of DUIs, or day shifts, you deal with a lot of trespassing or stuff like that.
Okay. And did you pass the FTO training program?
I did, yes.
Is it possible to fail that?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if the officers you're riding around with, they say, hey, this guy's a knucklehead. He should never have a gun and a badge. Then that person would not be allowed to become a patrol officer. Is that right?
Yeah, what they'll do is they will, give you a chance. It depends on what you mess up on, officer safety or whatnot. They'll give you a talking to, when they're doing your daily observation reviews. If it continues to become an issue, then, they'll bring it up to the supervisor and then they'll take it to the FTO manager, so to speak, and then they can address it a certain way from
So
there.
it sounds, correct me if I'm wrong, it sounds like you're on a probationary period. You're a probationary employee.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. But you became a patrol officer, is that right?
That is correct.
And you said graveyards was your first assignment?
That is correct.
We've talked a little bit about shifts. Could you tell the jury what the 3 shifts were at LCPD in October of 2023?
See if I can remember. I believe graveyard started at 9 or 9:30 till about 6 or 6:30. Day shift came
Hold
on
on,
at
hold on. 9 or 9:30 PM
PM. I apologize.
to,
6:30 AM.
okay,
Day shift came on at 6:30 till 4:30, I believe, and swing shift came in 3:30, I believe. 3:30 to 1:30. 3:30 in the afternoon to 1:30 in the morning.
okay. And on that, in October of 2023, which shift were you assigned to?
I was assigned to day shifts.
Okay. I guess I jumped ahead a little bit. Did there become a point after you became a patrol officer that you became more involved in community or partnership policing?
Yes, so a position had opened up for community outreach. You have to put in for it, test for it. I put in for it and I got it.
And describe to the jury what you were putting in for.
The way the job description read was I was putting in basically for a community partnership, basically bridging the gap between the civilians and the police officers. You work with your city council lady or male in their district to try to find problem areas, and you just address those issues. You can also do things like around Christmas, I did a Toys for Tots thing where I partnered with the Marine Corps League, and we would give out Christmas gifts to like 5-10 families. And it's just more, you're just more involved with the community instead of answering patrol calls.
You say that you put in for it. What was that process to apply?
If I remember correctly, it was a memo of interest, and then you sat down and did an oral board, and then they made their decision from there.
Okay, and could you tell the jury what an oral board is?
At the time, the oral board consisted of the sergeant and the lieutenant who were in charge of the unit, and they would just ask us certain questions on what we thought community partnership meant. Did we have any ideas that we thought would help out the community in certain areas? I can't remember all the questions. So.
And you were accepted?
I was accepted, yes.
Was there anything secret or hidden about this program?
No.
Was it something the chief didn't know about?
No, it was a program where it was looked down upon by a few officers.
Object, Your Honor.
Objection sustained. Ask another question, Mr. Long.
But they knew about it.
I understand. But it wasn't a secret program.
No, it was not.
Did detectives know about, the people in the CID, the Criminal Investigations Department, did they know about this program?
I'm not sure how they could have found out, but when the emails go out as far as who made a certain position, like a traffic position or detective, those emails go out to everybody as far as who made that unit. So I would think that if they saw their email, they would know the unit existed, I guess.
Okay. As part of community outreach, did you participate in recording public service videos for the Las Cruces Police Department?
I did, bridging the badge.
And describe to the jury how that came about, that you participated in that recording.
So I'm not really sure who came up with the idea for the program. But community outreach was tasked with putting together a production of a camera, basically a studio type setting. And what we did was we would give out information to the community. You can log into a social media link, and we would give out information as far as what's going on in the community. It didn't just include police stuff. It also included things like, I believe Casa de Pellegrino showed up, try to give information as far as what they provided and stuff like that.
Okay. And have you had occasion to watch that video recently?
I have, yes.
Okay. And it's a little awkward now that we don't use, TV sets and videotapes, but on this drive, which I'll refer to as Defense Exhibit 1A through D. So 1A, 1B, 1C, and 1D. Are those segments of the complete video of the Bridging the Badge episode that you recorded?
It is, yes.
Other than being edited for time, have those videos been altered or distorted in any way since you participated in the recording?
No, they have not.
So bottom line, if the jury watches segments of this video, are they watching the same as if they had looked at a YouTube channel 3 years ago?
Correct.
Okay. At this point, I would move Defense Exhibits 1A, 1B, 1C, and 1D into evidence.
Mr. Medina,
Your Honor, I renew my previous objection and also object on relevance grounds.
your objection's noted. The objection is overruled. Defendants Exhibit 1A, 1B, 1C, and 1D are admitted into evidence. Mr. Lyon, you wish to publish to the jury?
I do, and I may need assistance from my staff to help, but I think we've got the first one keyed up, so.
All right, let's let the computer come up. Josh, get the lights for us, please. And this is 1A?
Yes. Not sure what's happening. Exit it and just start the whole thing over. Hit play.
Mouse over those three.
Wait. I'm gonna make sure I got the right one because I mean, video. Oh, that's the right one. Okay.
Your Honor, can we approach very briefly?
Are you able to get it starting playing?
Okay.
All right, pause it. Approach.
There's no need to approach any further. Sorry.
Okay. You may publish the exhibit.
Officer Felipe Hernandez, he's one of our community outreach officers, and he's gonna go over he's gonna go over the project he's currently working at. It's pretty near and dear to his heart.
So, like my partner said, my name is Officer Felipe Hernandez. I'm with the Las Cruces Police Department. A little bit about myself. I've been here for going on 9 years.
Can the jury hear the audio? It's not coming
Yeah,
over.
well, is it hooked up? And is your volume at the highest?
Yes, it's the highest.
Try it again.
Before that, I worked at the district courthouse. Before that, I worked at the jail. Before that, I was a deputy sheriff up in Colorado Springs, Colorado. Before that, I joined the military in 2001 to about 2003. Decided to move back home where I grew up at. So today we'll be talking about one of my projects, as you mentioned, the Cedar Valley Public Housing. Like Officer Paulo says, I had family grow up there. I grew up in there, and one of the things that I wanted to bring to the Cedar Valley Public Housing, something that I felt that I didn't really feel when I was growing up in there, was quality of life. Being able to walk out and about, feeling comfortable to walk out of your residence and not really afraid of, what's around the corner or, what's going to happen in your neighborhood, So it's gotta be rough. Yeah, and so this project, again, it's I guess you can say it's near and dear to me, but I believe in quality of life for a lot of these residents that live in the Cedar Valley Public Housing community. So again, Cedar Valley Public Housing is a low income Section 8 housing. There is roughly about 7 to 8 different public housing that is given by the Cedar Valley Public Housing Authority. And I'm going to highlight some of the ones that I've been working on that I've kind of seen that were kind of issues when I first started. Again, when I first started I started off a graveyard, 5 years. We go to a lot of these calls to similar to same houses over and over again. And again, the public housing, I know there's rules and regulations that one has to follow. And when we're getting dispatched to the same house for the same issue, such as drive-bys and stolen vehicles, I just felt like something was being monitored. So that's why I started this project.
So pretty much the intel that you obtained while on patrol is what kind of led you towards this. And well, that and your growing up in these areas.
Right, yeah, I always, like I said, we go to the same call, same house for, maybe not just the same call, but different calls. And I'm wondering, like, this is a crime being committed on public housing property. And again, there's rules and regulations that one needs to follow when they sign a contract. And, again, I'm wondering.
And before I play the next segment, we don't need the lights. It appears, was this one of the first videos that you all produced?
Yes, it was.
No offense, but we see your fellow officer disappearing, I guess, in the green screen in the corner. The audio's not the best. Does that explain the production quality?
Yeah, we had just started this. This video was the first one. We had literally set the studio up literally the day before.
And was anybody involved in this production, a professional videographer or production?
No, I think we had IT show up to try to set the equipment up, but.
Fair enough.
Mr. Long, before you publish the next exhibit, ladies and gentlemen, jury, are you guys able to hear the video okay? Any concerns from any members of the jury? Okay.
All right, now I'm going to publish Defense Exhibit 1B.
So again, I kind of touched on this a little bit, what kind of created this project, Again, we're in the same residence, constant domestics, and I'm not talking just arguments, I'm talking full disturbances, broken windows, people just throwing stuff at each other or maybe shooting at each other. Shootings, drive-by shooting going on in public housing, drug activities, squatting in vacant residencies. When I say squatting, I'm talking about public housing has quite a few residents that are actually vacant. They're getting ready to have people move into them. Well, you have somebody who is not on the list to be put in the public housing, just either walk in or break into the residence, and then they live there for about 2 to 3 weeks until public housing is getting ready to move somebody in, and that's when they discover these people just living there. Okay. Total rent free, 9 times out of 10, the whole list is established, Again,
Unfortunate.
it is, and again, you have residents that are afraid of their surroundings, they don't want to come out. And whole thing of mine was quality of life for the residents living there. Like I said, there is a stigma that comes with living in public housing. We see it in movies. I've seen it growing up. Is that people say it's the projects, so they just assume bad crime happens with projects, and that's just kind of how it is.
Nothing you do about it.
Yeah, really nothing.
It is what it is.
Pretty much, but there are steps, which is why I came up with this project. Next slide, please. Excuse me. So what I needed to understand was, I needed to understand how public housing works. So, what is it who monitors everything that's going on? So I went and had a meeting with the deputy director as well as staff for public housing. And, that's important. I'd asked them, who's monitoring the public housing across the city? Because again, it just isn't just in one area. We have it over by Lynn, which is Police District 4. We have it over off of Bomber Court, which is Police District 3. There's Angeles, which is in City District 2. 3350 Oak Street, which is over in District 3 as well. So they're kind of all over the place, So I'm wondering who's monitoring all these rules and regulations that are being broken. Who's doing follow-up on these shootings or these domestics or these vandalism or harassment or trespasses, So we wanted to find out what's going on there. And also who's enforcing the rules and regulations that, again, are being broken on this property.
It kind of sounds like there wasn't monitoring of this, kind of eyes and ears.
Well, it wasn't that there wasn't any monitoring, it was more of they didn't know about it. Again, they, I don't want to say that they're doing a bad job, but it's hard when, again, this is a community where people aren't just normally counting on one another, So if a neighbor's having a domestic, a lot of people have that. Well, it's really not my problem in reality, and this just kind of goes by the wayside. So a lot of calls got swept under the rug because of this, which is why a lot of times public housing don't really know what's going on around the public housing communities. So next slide, please. So one of the things that, again, I felt I had to do was because, again, growing up in these communities was we need to build that trust between the residents of public housing as well as law enforcement. So you mentioned earlier, patrol's the backbone of our department, and they do a great job. But when they show up, everybody associates the cops are here, something bad happened, and they just leave it at that. So what I decided to do, and the system we found well, as well as other outreach officers, is we get down and walk the areas, walking on foot 3 to 4 times a day. We'd even ride a bike 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning and could throw our face there, so then we kind of be more approachable instead of just driving around the vehicles. We're a little more approachable, so people can actually come up to us and tell us issues that are going on in the community. Because like you said earlier, that's where we get a lot of our intel from, is the people who live there, and they're a wealth of knowledge on what's actually going on in communities.
I mean, it is their place, where they're living.
Yeah.
And I feel like that increased, felt presence is what kind of ignites that desire to reach out to one of us and present the problems in the area.
Right, and like I said, they want peace in the residents as well. They're the ones that I've spoken to. They don't want the constant foot traffic coming to their place or late night visitors or the neighbors pounding on their neighbor's door, but they can hear it because a lot of the houses are attached to each other. So a lot of loud parties, a lot of fights going on. So again, this is where a lot of our knowledge came from. So that's what I did first, was trying to build the trust of the communities. And I think it went well. I think we have a good foundation for that now.
Well, I know there's been a couple of times I've been on a bike ride with you and people will flag you down. They know you by name. And say, hey, Officer Hernandez, pull you to the side and provide you that tidbit of information. So it's obviously working.
If it's working, yeah, and
Now I'm going to play Defendant's Exhibit 1C.
Next slide, please. So when I started this, these were some of the locations I felt that had the most problems. Again, drugs, as I mentioned earlier, squatters, drive-by shootings, constant domestics, harassment, a lot of foot traffic, you know? So what I started to do is I would come in on a Monday and I would run the call logs for these places. Okay. And whatever I felt was a worthy call that public housing admin needed to know about, I would forward that up with the case number, and if they want to do follow-up, they did do follow-up, they got a report back what they wanted. But along the Grove, Alpha by Lynn, Housing Devlet, which is Burley Court area of Idaho, Housing Legends, which is Barber, same thing right next to Barber, I'm sorry, next to Burley Court on Idaho. And there's others. You know, for example, Walnut Grove, they had a residence that had at least 3-4 drive-by shootings at his residence. So, you know, what's going on there? Is yeah, obviously something's going on. Something's not right there, you know. So again, patrol officer, we take the call and then, you know, we move on. That's just, you know, on the call volume 1 from patrol. But I decided to look even further into this and what's causing this. So we're able to, with help with public housing admin, is to remove these individuals. And once they were removed, it seems like 9 days, the problem stopped. For the most part, not a whole lot of issues in that area. Overall, for Housing Hernandez, again, you had a disabled female who was being taken advantage of by her brother. The brother pretty much forced his sister out of the residence. She was out of that residence for 3 months while the brother was selling drugs out of that residence, you know.
So when you say take advantage, you're saying like moved in there, like in a sense squatting? Is that what you're
Squatting is what I'm going back to, yeah. So this individual, his sister was so afraid of her brother that she moved out for 3 months. They didn't tell him. Okay. The brother is squatting there selling drugs out of this apartment. And the foot traffic through there at night was phenomenal. And of course, this is information I gathered from the residents. After the brother was arrested on a warrant, the difference between the foot traffic from the time that he was arrested to now is almost obsolete right there, you know, and that's by the residents found that like the foot traffic is almost literally stopped, you know.
So going back to we kind of got rid of the problem as far as getting this particular person to be evicted. What do we do with that person is evicted? Because now they're homeless.
So the person isn't evicted. So right now that individual who was the male, which is the brother, he wasn't on the lease to live there. So he was just removed. His sister still lives there and she's working with public housing to
Your Honor, can we approach? I'm sorry.
or something like that. So the problem is if the brother just wasn't on the lease, you have to, in order to live,
Approach.
at these public housing areas, we have to be on the lease. If you're not on the lease, then you're a visitor. If you're a visitor, then you have certain limitations on what you can do. That you can't just invite friends over or have hangouts. You know what I mean? It has to go through the residence who is assigned. So the resident's sister's still there. She's still there. She worked with public housing to get moved the last time I heard.
So there are another question. I noticed these pictures. Are they're taken early morning or late night? What is the typical time frame which you're out here?
So the typical time frame is only 3-4 o'clock in the morning. These pictures were taken about 4 o'clock in the morning on my bike rides through the public housing community. And again, it's just to show that we are out there. They tell us, the community tells us what time things are happening. And I do my best to get out there around those times to see what I can see. And I can report that up to public housing and let them know what the community is telling me and what they're afraid of and whatnot.
Just a question really quick.
Yeah.
How many miles do you see from
It varies, I guess, if I get flat, maybe 5. If I don't, on a good day, about 16, 17 months. So.
There's a lot of free people.
No, but it's an electrical bike, so let's not try to get too into it, you know. Going back to public housing here, Hernandez, which is Bomber. There's another female who she was homeless at one time. Decided to allow her homeless friends to start coming over, using the facilities, and at which point they started actually living on the property. They were setting up tents, they were setting up their cots and whatnot, living on these properties where, of course, nobody could see them, but they were actually in the property itself.
So this goes back to squatting.
Yes, and again, squatting is when people are just coming onto the property, they have no right to be there, and they're trying to make it into a living situation, you know, which, again, public housing is private property, and you can't just walk onto the property and just start setting up tents.
It's not like it's a national park, you just go pitch a tent inside a camp, right? So
Right, yeah, no, this is actually private property, and there are rules, regulations, and, of course, again, some of the places, and I got some photos you'll see where it's hard for some individuals to see them where they're set up at unless you actually get on foot. So,
okay.
There's Blues the same way over off of Ashland Mulberry. There is a lady there who has constant visitors 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and these visitors at some point they'll bring up stolen vehicles that we actually took reports on, to squat in front of the residents, you know, and again, these are the concerns that were being brought by some of the elderly community living there. As I was, is there's a lot of foot traffic coming through here, and they go to a certain address, and you don't know why. Again, which is why the bike rides occur in the morning, whatnot. So
with that increased foot traffic, would you say it kind of, I guess, correlates with the whole increased crime, or is it just an inconvenience to like work?
It could be an increase in crime. It could also be an inconvenience because again, these people are allowed to have visitors come and visit, you know, but there's a certain time that people normally stop by and visit. And I, you know, again, being 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning is not a normal time for somebody to come to my house, but that's just me. Which is why we go and check it out, you know, so, it's not part of this crime going on, but we are addressing this.
Finally, now I'm going to publish Defense Exhibit 1D to the jury.
Residents of one of these homeless ladies that got public housing assistance. As you can see, there's people just living on the property, tons of bikes. Just south of that flag there was a vacant residence where people set up tents in the back. So I mean, if you can imagine, this is now in the community, 60, 70-year-old male or female. I mean, are they really going to address that? You know, I mean, this is things that they had concerns about, but they wouldn't bring it up because again, as long as nobody bothers me, right, I just stay in my little house, which they don't like being cooked up because they want to be able to move around freely, but they don't really care because they feel threatened by this. You know?
Okay. So that vacant, so that house is vacant, is that correct?
Yes.
So my question to you is, if somebody is found in there, what are they looking? What kind of criminal like charge? What is that?
So at that point, I'd have to stay with public housing and see if they're going to pursue charges for, at this point, just trespassing. Just trespassing because the resident is vacant, but they are technically on private property. Public housing is private property, and each house is given a section to the resident once they are given public housing. Okay. The bottom picture here, as you see, is a resident that had people squatting, living on the side of his residence. An elderly female who didn't know these people were there. There's about 2 or 3 people camping back here, and they've been there for 2 or 3 months. I have no clue, but I don't know if you can see it there, but there's a headstone. They managed to bring a headstone from the cemetery there. Stolen bikes, a bunch of property. And again, the individual who lived here had no idea this was going on there because he's a wheelchair bound, and he had no clue people were on the side of his business.
So I've seen some wires and stuff. Were they utilizing electricity from that property?
No, so what they do a lot of times is they will find copper somehow, whether it's stealing or they go to construction sites and they'll strip the insulation off the copper, go sell the copper, and from what I've seen, purchase narcotics with it. So, and the narcotics that right now is currently on the streets is blues, which is fentanyl pills, those small pills of fentanyl. That's kind of a hot topic right now. So, but yeah, that's just what I've seen when I first started the project, are people just, as you can see, just kind of make themselves comfortable on public housing property.
Josh, get the lights on. Thank you.
Mr. Hernandez, during the first part of the video, first of all, who was the other officer that kept fading in and out?
Oh, that was Officer Palos.
Okay. And is he somebody that you worked with? Was he also in community outreach?
He was, yes.
Describe to the jury what the structure of the community outreach department, division, what was your unit? What did it consist of?
So the unit consisted of 6 officers. Each officer was assigned to city council districts. And we would meet up with our city councils and address any issues or concerns that they may have about certain complaints that they've gotten from people or constituents, as they call them, in their area. So we would address those issues and concerns and see what we can do to assist, if there's anything that we could do to assist them.
Did you go to city council meetings?
I did, yes.
Detective Melendez said yesterday he did a search warrant for your work computer and found he said there were a bunch of emails from you to the housing authority.
Correct. I emailed Public Housing Authority every single day about my findings. Whether I found something or not, I just informed them. And I also CC'd my sergeant and lieutenant to those emails.
Did the housing authority also initiate emails to you?
Yeah, sometimes I would get emails saying, we heard there was a possible.
Object to hearsay.
Objection sustained.
Did you receive emails requesting you to take action?
Object to hearsay.
Objections overruled.
We got emails just to look into things or see if we can get them a report.
Okay, I'm sorry to cut you off. There's hearsay and we're walking.
I'm sorry.
It's a fine line no, you did fine. Okay.
Can object to the comment on the evidence.
Objections noted. Mr. Lahan asked a question.
Yes, Your Honor. How did your work differ from patrol? And I understand the meetings with city councilors and all that, but just on your shift, how was that different than patrol?
On patrol, you respond to patrol calls. We were dispatched on channel 1. They'll say 884 for you to copy a trespass or something like that. In community outreach, we have more leeway to actually address community issues. So even if we're not dispatched or we're told about something, if we see, for example, I would see a lot of vagrants sleeping in front of stores that are, or offices. I would address that as far as going to the business owner and be like, hey, do you have a problem with trespassing or something like that? They would tell us, yeah, I'm always finding, or I can even see it, he sees on the wall or something like that. And I would just ask them, do you want me to address this issue? And so we had more leeway in that aspect, meaning we can go out and kind of create our own projects to assist the community and stuff like that.
And you said you had a sergeant. Was that somebody that supervised the work that was being done?
That is correct, Sergeant Heschler.
And did he review reports that you created?
He reviewed our stats, the emails I sent them, and then we would also have a kind of a conversation about what projects we're working on and what we actually have coming up. Stuff like that.
And why does being on a bike, how does that differ than being able to do the community outreach in a patrol car?
So when we take the bike class, that's the first thing they tell you is you're just more approachable. You know, you're actually not in a unit with your windows rolled up. You can actually, you're just more approachable on a bike. If you see something, you can actually get off on foot, or you just appear to be more approachable to the public.
You said bike classes, or is it actually special training that you get to ride a bike as a police officer?
Yeah, it's just for insurance purposes, I believe, just so they know that you know how to ride a bike, and if you fall, then that's on you. Type of stuff, you know?
Okay. 4 a.m, why was it important for, why did you start at 4 a.m. visiting the projects?
I received a few, I don't want to say complaints, a few concerns from a lot of these people that said a lot of these
An object to
homeless.
hearsay.
Objection sustained. Ask another question.
Your Honor, I'm not offering for truth of the matter asserted, but as to why this officer took the actions he did.
Objections then overruled. There is an exception to hearsay. So it's not being offered for the truth of the matter asserted, simply to explain why this officer chose to go out at 4 a.m. Mr. Lahan, you can re-ask your question.
So why was it important to you to begin so early in the morning?
I was just informed that a lot of homeless individuals that the residents thought were homeless were coming out of certain areas or congregating around the area about 3 or 4 in the morning.
And that would have, okay. Now specifically, I just now used the term project. Is that the proper term, or is that an appropriate term, or how?
You can refer to them as pop project or impact projects. This project, because it was kind of a longer project, was considered a pop project.
And I'm sorry, what I meant was, you know, when the way I was growing up, the projects were where lower income people live.
Oh, I apologize.
So when I use the word project just now, I mean, is that the appropriate term or not?
No, it's considered public housing or low income housing. The word projects is kind of a negative term, I think, just kind of brought up like in movies and stuff like that. So it kind of draws a negative stigma. So I try not to use the word projects.
And I think it sounds from the video that this assignment was particularly important to you because of the way you grew up.
That is correct.
Can you explain a little bit of that to the jury?
My mom was in public housing. We lived with her for a little bit until he had, I hate to say it, but she had some domestic issues. We went to live with my great grandparents who rented, but when my great grandfather passed away, my great grandmother was my guardian. So she got put into public housing and I went with her.
And on the video that we saw and that the jury has, I mean, did that become an extra motivation for you to apply to this program?
An object to leading.
Objections overruled.
It did because my grandmother was actually a resident on Bombert, 1358 Bombert.
Now, the public housing area where this incident happened, what's the proper name of it? Or do you know?
It's been a long time. I'm sorry. I don't.
Okay. Alegres Jardines?
I believe that's correct.
Or Jardina Alegres. I'm sorry, I may be wrong. How did you refer to it?
I just called them off by street names. For me, it was just easier because, like, for example, if I think it's Tres Árboles off of Sexton, that could mean the whole property. But if I actually say Gaia Sosa or Gaia Fielder, you know, it kind of narrows things down on the property.
right. I want you now to, we're gonna go through what happened on October 3rd, 2003, okay, or 2023. Okay. Tell the jury how your shift began.
Uh, so I pulled up to the East Police Department about 3:50 to load up my bike. I once my bike
Let me
was
stop you right there. You pulled up to the east what?
the East Mesa complex, which is the police department on the east side, Sonoma Ranch.
All right, explain to the jury, they may not understand. How many offices or location, police stations do we have here in Las Cruces?
So we have, as far as I know, we have 217 East Picacho, and I believe the address is 550 Sonoma Ranch up on the east side. Those are the two that we have.
The Sonoma Ranch is that great big building, not too far north of the Walmart.
That is correct. We share the building with the firefighters.
Okay, and that's a public safety building, or
Complex, I believe is what it's called.
are all of the police officers headquartered out of the East Mesa station now?
No, I don't know. As of October 3rd, it was kind of just split up, day shift and swing shift. They had their briefings on the west side. Graveyards had their briefings on the east side, and you had codes up there, gang task force unit, community outreach over there as well.
Okay, so go ahead, back to starting your shift. You went to the East Mesa substation, is that right?
That is correct.
To pick up your bike?
To retrieve my bike, yes.
Okay. And from there, what do you do?
So from there, I load up my bike, make sure everything's working like it was the day before when I put air in it and whatnot. I loaded my bike up on the back of my marked patrol unit, and I drove down to the city hall. City hall was my launching point to start my bike ride from there.
Okay. And about what time do you think you left City Hall?
I try to make it a point to leave about 4:10, 4:15.
And from there, did you travel directly over to Burley Court?
No, I had other projects going on as well. I had projects on Mesquite Street. I had projects on San Pedro. I had a project at the downtown mall as well. And then eventually I had a project on El Paseo, which also led into the public housing area. So it took me a while to get there.
Okay. Now, with regard to Barley Court, is it Burley or Barley?
It's Burley Court.
With regard to Burley Court, is there anything about its location or is there anything about its location in the city that is problematic for the people that live there?
From what I can tell, it's one way in, one way out. There is no division line between Bonbert and Burley Court, so people can just roam the property to either side. And Bonbert and Burley Court is only one way in, one way out. You have on the west side of Burley Court, you have a trailer park, and then on the south side, you have a low-income living. I don't know what it's called though.
I take it these aren't gated communities.
No, they're not.
Okay. Did you arrive at Burley Court?
Yes, I did.
Do you recall about what time?
Probably about 4:40, 4:45 maybe.
Okay. How did you approach Burley Court?
So I approached Burley Court through Bonbert. I'm sorry.
If I may retrieve an exhibit, this may help.
You may.
Yeah, I won't get over it. This one. Okay. Okay, so if I want him to annotate just like they were doing yesterday.
Oh.
Three dots.
Yeah, the 3 dots.
How do I give him control?
Your Honor, can I approach?
You may.
Just, so this is how we do it, Jeff. You zoom in and out here. And then once you have it on the screen the way you want it to show, you click the 3 buttons.
Three dots.
And then you click that,
Okay,
and then you close,
okay.
and then he'll be able to mark however, and then when you're done marking, you click the 3 dots again, you click back, clear it all and end, and that does it.
So I give control to him.
It does it automatically. So as soon as you click this, he's got control.
Okay, so let's leave it there. Okay. I think you have control now, that you can actually use your finger, and maybe I'll zoom in a little bit. Maybe that's all it does.
Oh, you have to zoom in before he has.
Oh, I see. Okay, well, let me clear. It's a good test for me, right? So we're gonna clear. And now I can zoom. Okay.
There's an eraser, Jesus. If you don't want to like erase it.
Okay. Okay, I see what you mean. Okay. Okay, if I've done this correctly, Officer Hernandez, could you just kind of draw a line showing how you came into the neighborhood? And then you say you came in on a different street, just kind of draw generally your path if you can.
Okay. So I
And
came,
describe to the jury.
so I came in off of East Idaho this way, rode into Bonbert here, drove around these little areas here, came here, rode through these areas here. On this side, I came this way. Here I got off my bike to check this area here for homeless, but there's a path right here that connects Bombert and Burley Court. And then that's when I rode the bike up on the sidewalk right there.
And is that about where you finished riding your bike?
That is correct.
Okay. Okay.
It's good. You got it, Mr. Lon?
I think so.
That's fine.
All right, officer. Why did you stop riding your bike, at the point that you drew on the map?
As I was pulling up on, I was right on the sidewalk, out of the corner of my eye. That's when I noticed. Well, I noticed the car first, and then as I passed by it, that's when I kind of noticed movement in the car.
Let me stop you right there. What about the car drew your attention?
The fact that I had never seen it before, it didn't belong to anybody in the residence there didn't belong to anybody there at that residence that I knew of.
There was a lady that testified yesterday, Miss Simmons. Do you know her?
Yeah, I didn't know her as Miss Simmons. I knew her as Butterfly.
Okay. Did she live, on Burley Court?
Yes.
And where did she live? Do you remember?
I don't remember the numerics. I'd have to look at the map.
Was it near the location of where you stopped your bike?
Yeah, almost directly in front of it.
Okay. Did you ever see Miss Simmons that night at all?
I never did, no.
Or that morning?
No.
Did you see, I guess there's a fella living with her. Did you see him that morning?
No, I did not.
Had you seen him before?
I have, yes.
Was he on the lease?
From what I was told by public housing, no, he was not.
Okay. All right. So the car catches your attention and you say movement in the car?
That is correct.
And why did movement in the car catch your attention?
Somebody had moved in that it might have kind of made a movement, so I didn't know what was going on. It just kind of caught my attention.
Okay. Was it typical when you were riding your bike, starting these early morning ride throughs, was it typical to see people in their cars?
No, not that early in the morning.
So what did you do after noticing movement inside the car?
I got off my bike, kept eyes on the vehicle. I shined my light on the inside of the vehicle. As soon as I shine my light on the inside, I can see what appeared to be handgunned in someone's waistband. As soon as the gentleman made kind of an adjustment on his hat, I recognized him, pretty much kind of recognized him as Jesus Garcia.
Okay. You say you saw a handgun. Where was that when you saw it?
It was in his waistband. As he's sitting down, it was on his left side.
Is that something you could see before you approached the vehicle?
That is correct.
Is that something you could see with your light?
Yes. In the video, if you can recall, I held my light on that position the whole time.
After seeing what looked to be a handgun, what did you decide to do?
I decided to make a driver's side approach and just basically find out what's going on in that car.
Why didn't you approach the passenger, the one with the gun, or what looked to be a gun?
Because of the plastic on the window, I couldn't see inside. And again, with my impression that was a gun, I didn't want him to pull it if I couldn't see what was going on from that side.
Okay. And so what did you do when you approached the driver's side door?
Before that, I had identified myself and I told him to open the door. Ms. Gomez to open the door, or roll down the window, I'm sorry. And then she refused, so I just started telling her to open the door.
Did that concern you that she was not rolling down the window?
It concerned me because, again, I don't know what's going on in that car right now. So, yeah.
Okay. Were you trained either at the Colorado Springs Police Academy or the City of Las Cruces Police Academy on how to approach a vehicle to conduct an investigation?
It's mostly on traffic stops. If feasible, you're taught to do traffic stops from the passenger side.
Okay. For what reason?
From what I remember them telling us is that you can actually see, if it's just a driver, you can actually see more movement if they were to actually kind of draw a weapon and shoot across, instead of if you do a driver side approach, they can kind of,
Okay. After the person in the driver's seat refused to roll down the window, what did you do?
I started giving commands to open the door.
Okay. Did she open the door?
Eventually, yes.
Okay. The lapel cam video, the jury has seen it, the jury will have it. You've seen it. Does that fairly and accurately depict everything that happened that morning?
That is correct.
Did the camera have a different visual angle than maybe your own eyeballs?
I believe so, because the camera sits right here on my chest. And if I look, the camera's not gonna follow my eyes, basically.
Okay, could you stand up and show the jury again on your body where the body cam would be positioned?
On my vest, it was.
Okay, and
Right.
for the record, the witness is pointing with his hand over a sternum.
Thank you. Mr. Medina?
Your Honor, can I request just a very, very brief recess,
For like, just you?
just for me?
You got 3 minutes?
Yes, Judge.
3 minutes. Everybody
Thank you.
stay where you're at, off the record.
Yeah, sit down, Judge.
Jurors, you may stand up and take a stretch break if you want. And members of the gallery can stand up and stretch. Mr. Hernandez, you need more water? Mr. Zabrick, would you help with that? Would you need something? You didn't, go. He's going to the bathroom. He's fine. He's fine. Oh, you need more paper? Very good. Anybody else need more paper? Sure. No. Because I told him as soon as he's back, we're starting. And as soon as the juries are back, we're starting. All right, we're back on the record. Mr. Lahan, you may continue with your examination of Mr. Hernandez.
Yes. Okay, that was a good stopping point. All right, I think we were at the point where she being the driver had just opened the door. Did you know the driver at that point?
No, I've never seen her before.
Were you 100% confident at that point of who the passenger was?
From my first initial look through the window of the windshield, I was 90% sure who it was.
And who was that?
Jesus Garcia.
Is that somebody that you've encountered before in the line of duty?
Yes, I have.
And specifically, how many times, do you know?
More than 30.
Okay. Had you issued him any kind, have you ever arrested or issued him citations, Jesus Garcia?
Yes, I issued I believe it was 5 or 6 citations for trespassing.
To your knowledge, did any other officer with the Las Cruces Police Department cite Jesus Garcia for trespassing on Burley Court?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Did Jesus Garcia live on Burley Court?
No, he did not.
Mr. Hernandez, can you speak up just a little bit for me?
I apologize.
That's
No, he does not.
And to your knowledge, did he live, was he a resident of any property managed by the Mesilla Valley Housing Authority?
No, according to Melissa Portillo, no, he was not.
And I assume that's somebody at the Housing Authority.
Yes, I believe it was March of 23. Melissa Portillo and I were walking. the
Deputy
prop-
hearsay, Your Honor.
Mr. Lahan?
Without going into what people said, just you're describing an action, I think.
Yes.
Okay, could you describe that action?
In March of 23, me and Melissa were walking the property, discussing what was going on when we came across Jesus Garcia next to a vacant building. Looked like he was playing with rocks or something. Melissa had asked him questions and she determined that he did not belong there and she asked me to trespass him.
Okay. Describe to the jury, because you're using trespass as a verb. You said somebody asked you to trespass Mr. Garcia. Just describe generally to the jury what trespass means and how it is enforced at that time by you at the Las Cruces Police Department.
So a trespass can be issued by somebody who owns the property or is managing a property for, like, let's say such a business or something like that. If they are causing problems or loitering or for whatever reason they don't want them there, that person who manages or controls the property can say, I don't want that person back on this property. At which point then we issue out a trespassing card that isn't really a violation, but it's a trespassing card we fill out and we give it to the individual and inform them that they're no longer welcome back on the property.
Is that a formal process through the Las Cruces Police Department that was utilized at the time?
Yes, that's how I was trained. Yes.
How is that scenario different than something like I might see, behind a secure building or something? There are signs everywhere, no trespassing, no trespassing. How is the trespassing card situation different than no trespassing?
Sorry, it's been a while for me on that. If I remember correctly, the notice has been posted that they don't want them on the property, and that's a form of letting somebody who doesn't have the right to be on that property, that they don't belong on that property. In the instance of, let's just say, public housing, there really were no trespassing signs. There was nothing saying that they couldn't be on the property, and whatnot. So I believe that's what you're asking.
Certainly, but ultimately it's the property owner that decides who has permission, who doesn't.
That is correct.
Okay. All right, so we're back now to you standing at, now the open door, 90% sure Jesus Garcia with some kind of, maybe a handgun in the passenger seat. I want to talk a little bit about your language. The language that you were using that morning, was there a purpose behind it?
Yeah, I feel that there was. I kept asking her to step out, and I was getting no compliance. So, from working at the jails and the prisons, it's just one of those things, like, you raise your voice to or cuss to kind of let them know you're serious, I guess is the word I'm looking for. Or
Is that a tactic, the use of shouting or even using curse words? Is that a tactic that's actually taught at any police academy that you've been to?
not taught. It's something that they just kind of say, you ask, advise, tell. But I wouldn't say it's part of the curriculum.
Okay, ask, advise, tell. That was part of the curriculum.
Yes.
Explain to the jury what that means.
Meaning you ask them to do something, and then you advise them, and now you're telling them. That's kind of the process that we were taught in verbal judo class.
So if you ask and somebody complies, that it stops right there.
That stops right there.
Okay. What's going on in your mind at that point? You've now got this person out of the car. You look back into the car. What's going through your mind?
So as I'm talking to her, even before then, before I pulled her out, they keep fumbling around his waistband. So I don't know what he's gonna do. So at this point, as she steps out and I'm talking to her, he keeps pulling stuff out of his waistband, which to me at the time appeared to be handguns. As I'm talking to her, I'm just kind of,
And actually, before we transition to that point, let me. I think it'll take too long. This is State's Exhibit 19 that I'm showing you and presenting in the courtroom. Is that what you saw in Jesus Garcia's pants that morning?
no, that, I believe the other officer testified, that's what he pulled out of his pants. What I saw were actual, what's the word I'm looking for? They look to be completed guns. They're like the bodies of the guns is
The
what they look
chassis?
like. The chassis, that's a good word for it. Yeah, that's what I saw. I never saw any of this stuff right here.
Okay. Was it similar to this?
This is the trigger mechanism as that officer had described, but what I had actually witnessed was, like I said, the actual frame of the gun, the frame and whatnot.
Okay. And did that cause you concern?
It did until I did realize that they were paintball guns.
Okay. So what did you do next?
At this point, I guess I'm just upset right now because I'm trying to figure out what's going on. This Gomez isn't really complying.
Did you know her name at that point?
I didn't know her
Okay.
name. And again, like I said, I'm not sure what's going on. Jesus has been a problem for a long time, so I never seen this young lady, so I don't know what's going on in the car.
Let me stop you right there. Did you have a partner on patrol that morning?
I was supposed to, yes.
Okay, and who was that supposed to be?
Larry Palos.
The gentleman on the screen?
That is correct.
Okay. Okay. And why did that not happen?
I have no clue. I don't know why he didn't show up. I rode my bike 8 times a month and he probably didn't show up 4 or 5 times out of those times he said he would ride with me.
Okay. And he had his own duties and own areas too, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. The lighting in that area, did the lapel camera accurately depict the lighting as you remember it?
As I recall, yes.
So now that you have kind of verified that these are only paintball guns in Jesus's belt or lap, what do you do next?
I try to explain to Teresa what I'm doing there. I'm trying to ask what she's doing there. And again, I'm just mad at this point, and it's mostly just to try to figure out who she is so I can kind of keep a mental note in my mind. Okay, now I've seen this person. I should probably keep an eye out on her if she ever comes back on the property or if she's part of something else.
Were you going to arrest her at that point?
No, I had no reason to.
And were you going to arrest Jesus Garcia at that point?
No, I was not.
Why not, if you knew that he wasn't supposed to be there?
I knew he had warrants, but again, a practice that we've done on patrol is if they're kind of misdemeanor warrants, you can take them in under your own discretion. The second thing was when we're out on the bike around that time, it's kind of hard to get graveyard officers to come out because they're kind of cleaning up their own reports. And that time there was FTO going on, and I know from being an FTO, you're kind of filling out paperwork and stuff like that. So a couple of weeks prior to that, we had an arrest at 1310 Beckles, and it took them about 45 minutes to get out there to pick up my arrestee. So I knew I had the warrant on him, so I just put another warrant out for his arrest.
Okay. And the delayed waiting, I'm sure that's no fun for you, but does that become a problem for somebody that you've arrested if you have to wait 45 minutes sitting on a curb or something?
Yeah, we can handcuff them, but not only does that just become not does it just become cumbersome just waiting, but now you're passing off your work to another officer. And if that individual, for whatever reason, gets denied at the jail, then they got to go get cleared at the hospital. So now you're just kind of passing your work off, you know? So at that time in the morning, I was just like, I'll just put the warrant out for his arrest.
If you had had your car instead of your bike, would you have made a different decision?
I would have arrested him at that point, yes.
Okay. Did you tell either Ms. Gomez or Mr. Garcia that they were free to leave at that point?
I don't recall that I told him that. I don't recall that I told him that.
Okay. So what are you doing at that point?
So at this point, after everything's said and done, what I'm doing now is I'm getting ready just to get a case number. So I have to pull a case number off of from dispatch so that I can write a report to type out my warrant for Jesus Garcia.
And I'm sorry, the jury may not understand. How do you get a case number from dispatch? What do you do?
So I got to generate a card. I got to call out to dispatch, let them know my location. And then at that point, I go to channel 2 and I'll ask them for a case number, and then they'll issue me a case number from there.
Okay. Is the case numbers, is that something that you've ever written on a card with your name on it, or?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you called in to dispatch, you do that through what, a handheld or?
Through my handheld radio, yes.
Okay, we call it a handheld radio, but nowadays these are affixed to your uniform somehow, is that
Yeah,
right?
they're just radios that are kind of like that big. You kind of have a carrier that goes on your vest or your duty belt, and you can wear an earpiece if you want, or just listen to the hand mic.
And so you call into dispatch, what happens next?
Prior, I can't recall if it happened before or after, but Miss Gomez asked me if she can see in the car. And I said, yeah, go ahead, go ahead and have a seat in the car. I go over to channel 2, and at this point I'm trying to listen to the radio in my earbud. And just waiting for information to come across. So for my case number.
What's the next thing you became aware of?
Being hit by the car.
Did that surprise you?
It did.
Did you hear the car start up?
I did not.
We can hear it on the video, but you said you had an earpiece in your ear, is that right?
That is correct.
With radio traffic?
Channel 2 was talking to me, yes.
Okay. It looked like you were also writing something down at the time?
Yes, I was kind of getting my notes in order as far as I knew Jesus's name and whatnot, so I was just kind of lining up my notes. When I got the case number, I can call in my report later.
What's going through your mind when the door strikes you?
Fear. Because my left arm is pinned, The car's behind me, and um, I I fear myself going over, I guess. So fear is kind of what I felt.
Before the car door struck you, had the situation begun de-escalating?
Yeah, I believe so.
Is that why you allowed Ms. Gomez to get back into the car?
That is correct. Yeah.
Were you expecting the situation to escalate after that?
No.
You mentioned the car behind you. Is that something that we've seen in exhibits marked as Jaguar?
That is correct.
Were you able to actually physically feel the car behind you
Yes, I did.
with, I guess, your rump?
Yes, my back. When the car first hit me, I felt it on my back, and then on my behind, and then that's when I felt the car backing up.
After the car hit you on your left side, is that right?
Correct.
And the car door is open. And did you try backing up, or you just knew that that car was behind you?
I knew the car was behind me. I think it's better if I try to explain it standing up if I can.
Yes, please do. If we may, Judge.
The wireless mic, Josh, please. Well, either that or he has to hold it. You need to be at the podium and you can ask questions.
Whatever's more comfortable for you.
If you want to come out forward in the well of the courtroom, just in front of the strip on the floor, probably the best view for the jury.
You guys hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So I have my flashlight. Let's pretend this is my flashlight in my armpit. So as I'm writing, it's lighting up my notebook. I have my notebook in my right hand and my pen. I'm writing. As I'm writing, I normally stand like this. It's just more of a stance that I kind of learned working in the prisons in case somebody attacks you. If you're talking to them, you're ready for a fight. So as I'm hearing the radio, all of a sudden the car backs up. When the car backs up, if you notice in the picture, it was kind of a small gap. I kind of got pinned with the wedge of the door, the edge of the door on my arm here, which shot my pen across my right elbow. So that's where you kind of see the pen mark. When the door hits me, I'm back already. I can't feel myself move. So as the car's backing up, I try to kind of blade, maybe the car roll by me, but it's not. At that point, I feel myself going over, and I start to feel pressure in my knee built up. So at that point, I just start running out with the car. So
You say going over.
Mr. Lahan on the microphone.
I'm a good writer.
You stay right there.
You say going over, what do you mean?
Meaning, like I felt my upper body going over. If you've ever been in wrestling or something like that, you know what it's like to get thrown. I found myself going over.
It's one thing in wrestling and football, is that a special problem for a peace officer to be thrown on the ground?
Where I was at in my position, I felt it was because the distance between the cars, I felt that if I would have fell over, I don't know, my head would have got run over or my legs would have got run over at that point.
And what's going through your head?
Fear. Like I said, I don't know what's gonna happen. My left arm is pinned against my chest the whole time. So even if I wanted to try to grab something to keep myself from falling over, I can't. So If I fall, I'm gonna fall kind of this way, the way that the car was backing up.
Were you still in control of this situation?
No, I felt like I wasn't.
In your experience, is an automobile something that can kill somebody?
Yes.
Mr. Law, may I return to the
Yes.
witness then?
Officer Hernandez, at that point, had a crime been committed in your presence?
Yes.
Which crime?
Aggravated battery on a peace officer.
Is that a felony in New Mexico?
Yes.
Were you able to regain your balance?
Once I felt the car, I guess I call it being shot out. Once I reached the edge of the Jaguar, I kind of felt a release on my back. And then that's when I kind of grabbed my composure. But yeah,
And so what did you do at that point?
at that point, I told her to stop. I drew my weapon and I fired. I discharged 3 rounds.
Why did you do that?
She just hit me with the car and I just felt in the position where I was at. I just felt like she was gonna back up more. I mean, she already hit me once, so.
Did she say anything or give you any warning before you were hit?
No,
Did Jesus Garcia say or give you any warning before you were hit?
no,
In that moment, were you waiting for brake or reverse lights to come on?
I don't, if I remember correctly, I couldn't see the back of the car. I couldn't see that. I don't know, I guess maybe I did, but it was more like, he just hit me, I'm close to this car. I mean, I don't know if she's gonna turn the wheel or something, so.
Did you set out that morning with the intent of hurting somebody?
No,
Was it ever your intent when you were on duty to hurt somebody?
no,
Did you take any kind of pleasure in that?
no.
We see the aftermath. Can you describe what's going through your mind after you fired your shots?
Just like disbelief, I guess. In my mind, like I said, I feel like I could have possibly got seriously injured, or if I would have felt like I thought I would have, maybe my head would have been run over. It was just curious, I guess. Why did she why did she hit me with the car? Yeah, just out of sorts, I guess. Just trying to process everything.
When you ran up to the car, what were you thinking at that point?
As I ran up to the car, now I'm just kind of wondering, why did she run? Again, did Jesus tell her to run or something? I don't know. So I'm just more concerned at this point. So I'm just trying to have her stay with me, I guess. Trying to talk to her, I guess. Just to stay with me, I guess.
Right after you on the lapel cam video, right after you fired the shots, you call in to, I guess, a microphone, shots fired.
That was my handheld radio, yes.
And what's the purpose of doing that?
Just to let individuals know what's going on in my situation. Let officers know what's going on in my situation.
In your experience, what's the reaction when all the radios in all the units in town start blaring shots fired?
I believe dispatch comes over and says, I don't even remember, it's been so long. Hands through the air, or shots fired, burly cord, or something like that. And then
We're getting way technical. When the call goes out, shots fired, does that mean the cavalry, everybody comes?
That is correct. I'm sorry.
It's okay. You were giving a very right technical answer. On the lapel camera, we hear sirens almost at the point where you get to the vehicle. Do you recall hearing those sirens?
I don't recall hearing the sirens, no.
Okay. But you knew that you'd called out shots fired.
That is correct.
Were you in control of that situation right then?
Right then,
Or is that even a fair question?
yeah, I wouldn't, I don't know. Control in what way, I guess?
Do you describe generally your state of mind from that point through the rest of the day?
Just disbelief.
Let me put it this way. Were you thinking clearly, precisely the rest of the day?
Oh, no, I didn't sleep for a couple days after that.
We saw a video where, I guess, you're describing, some marks on you. Were you asked to describe those marks? Those injuries, when you're with, Detective Yarnell?
No, he just asked me if I was injured, and I showed him where I felt the injuries at, and he took photographs of it.
Okay. Did you answer all of his questions truthfully?
Yes,
Okay. At some point, were you given a breath or a toxilizer test?
I was given a breathalyzer, and they drew blood after I left the hospital.
Any drugs or alcohol on board?
No.
Okay. Mr. Hernandez, I understand hindsight, but in that moment, is there anything that you could have done differently?
You know, object, it calls for speculation.
Objections overruled.
In what aspect, I guess?
Did you have any choice in that matter?
From when?
In terms of you using deadly force?
Oh, I don't think I did. Again, I feared for my safety when I was being drugged, or actually when I was running out with the car. Once I gathered my composure, the car is still next to me. I don't know what she's gonna do. So I felt like I didn't have a choice.
I'll pass the witness.
Thank you, Mr. Long. Cross-examination?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Hernandez.
Good morning.
All right. Just so that we have this clear for the record. And let's leave that on board though, because I think I am gonna need that. Just so we have this for the record, how tall are you?
About 5'11".
And how much do you weigh, sir?
Right now, or
Well, how
Currently.
much did you weigh at the time?
about 280.
Okay. All right. So we went through your military experience. We went through your training and experience. So there are just a couple of things I want to ask you about specifically, right? You're a defensive tactics instructor.
That's correct.
What is defensive tactics? Or I'm sorry, you were a defensive tactics instructor.
Yes.
Okay, what is defensive tactics?
We teach Mexico State program as far as how to teach officers how to defend themselves in certain situations if they fall to the ground, weapon retention, things of that nature.
All right. And you learned how to teach defensive tactics by going to school and learning how to teach it?
I took a 3-week course,
Okay.
and when the academies were going on, we were asked by, at the time, Lieutenant Briscoe to read the curriculum and kind of start teaching the classes ourselves, different moves and stuff like that.
All right. And after you received that training, it was part of your responsibilities to teach defensive tactics to officer cadets.
I'm sorry, it was my responsibility.
It was something that you did, right?
It was something that I did to help, yes.
Okay. And just because I want to get the timelines clear in my mind, how long was it from when you discharged from the military until you started with LCPD?
11 years, I believe.
Okay. And in the intervening time from when you discharged until you started with LCPD, during that time was when you got diagnosed with PTSD, according to your testimony, right?
That's correct.
In order to gain employment with Las Cruces Police Department, you had to pass a psych eval, right?
That's correct.
And you passed it.
Yes.
Okay. One of the other things we learned about your history with LCPD is that you were a field training officer.
That is correct.
And a field training officer's job is to go out in the field with people who've recently graduated from the academy, right?
That's correct.
And your job is to teach them proper techniques to use on the street, right?
Yes, in a way, yes.
And you evaluate those officer trainees on their performance, right?
That's correct.
And you report back to your supervisors or their supervisors about how they're doing, right?
We fill out a daily observation report.
Okay. And how long were you in FTO for?
I only did it I guess, for one class.
Okay. And how many officer trainees were you the field training officer for?
2.
So we know it was Officer Renteria and there was another officer out there.
That's correct.
Okay. All right. I want to talk about your self-initiated project.
Okay.
Okay.
Objection is characterization.
Objections overruled.
You were working this POP project that you created, right?
That's correct.
And it was basically for frequent patrols at low-income housing.
Yes, public housing areas.
Okay, public housing areas. And that POP project was part of the reason that you spent so much time there at Burley Court, right?
That's correct.
Okay. And during the course of your POP project, you became familiar with the rules and regulations of those low-income housing areas, right?
That's correct.
All right. So your job as a police officer, when you're a commissioned police officer with Las Cruces Police Department, was to enforce state statutes and municipal codes, right?
That's correct.
It's not your job and was not your job to enforce the terms of a rental agreement, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So to the extent that it was your understanding that the residents of those low-income housing units had restrictions on visitation, those restrictions on visitation existed as part of the rental agreements, right?
That's correct.
And they aren't codified in the municipal code, right?
That's correct.
And they aren't codified in state statute.
That's correct.
Okay, so part of your job then should not have been to enforce the terms contained in those rental agreements, right?
That's correct.
Okay. Okay. I just want to talk a little bit about those communities, okay? And we saw some stills in exhibits defense. Excuse me. My apologies. Okay, we saw some stills in defendants exhibits 1A through D. Or some of those images we saw included the signage that's in front of all of these areas, right?
Well, oh, you mean, what's the name of the residence?
Right. We
Okay.
saw a sign that said Jardines Alegres, right? Right,
That's correct.
and one that said Jardines Verdes,
Correct.
one that had an address on San Pedro,
Correct.
right? What we didn't see is posted no trespassing signs.
That's correct.
And we didn't see posted no trespassing between certain hours times.
That's correct.
Okay. So there isn't the situation where somebody has no trespassing signs posted on their property wasn't really at play here. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, rephrase that question.
We're not talking about a situation where somebody had no trespassing signs posted on their property. You'd agree with me?
There was no trespass signs posted at the entrance of Bonbird and Burley Court.
There was.
There are signs posted there. I may not have taken a picture of them, but they're there.
Okay. We also saw in your exhibits about the types of concerns that you had. And again, this was a project that you started because of your personal connections to those areas, right?
Personal connections, the drive-by shootings that happened, when I was on community outreach, there was a few drive-by shootings on Dr. King Way that
You're
occurred.
gonna object to non-responsive, Judge.
Sustain.
Okay. So, and I'm gonna make reference. I'm gonna make reference to Defendant's Exhibit 1B. It's not displayed, but I took notes. And you made note of constant domestics.
Correct.
Okay. You made note of shootings, drive-bys, right?
Correct.
You made note of drug activity and squatting, right?
Correct.
You made note of residents afraid of their surroundings, right?
Correct.
Stolen vehicles
Correct.
and quality of life.
Correct.
Okay. And then in Defendant's Exhibit 1C, there was reference to drugs, right?
Correct.
And squatters,
Correct.
drive-by shootings,
Correct.
and again, constant domestics.
Correct.
Okay. So let's talk about your interactions with Ms. Gomez and Mr. Garcia that day. When you drive up, or when you ride up, you notice that there's people in the car, right?
Correct.
You notice movement.
That's correct.
But what you didn't see was fighting, right?
What's what?
You didn't see any fighting.
No, I did not.
They weren't under distress.
No,
They weren't yelling at each other.
no,
There weren't fists flying.
no,
Okay. So we're not talking about a domestic disturbance here.
no,
In fact, they weren't making any noises at all, right?
no.
Okay. You'd indicated that there was shootings, but you hadn't, this isn't a situation where you'd received a call for a shooting.
No,
Okay. And you saw what you later confirmed, at least to your satisfaction, was a paintball gun.
that's correct.
Okay. So we're not talking about a shooting.
That's correct.
Okay. You talked about drug activity and squatting.
That's correct.
But you didn't see any drug paraphernalia.
No, I did not.
You didn't, like, he wasn't, neither one of these people was lighting up a piece of tinfoil or anything like that.
No,
In fact, there was no drug paraphernalia in the car at all, was there?
I never searched the car.
Okay, and from your vantage point outside the car, you never saw any drug paraphernalia?
No,
You never saw any reason to believe that there was drug activity happening in that car?
no,
Okay. Residents afraid of their surroundings. Again, this is a self-initiated call.
that's correct.
Okay. And
I'm sorry, it's not a call, it's just my project.
okay, so this is a self-initiated encounter.
That is correct.
You're not responding to a call for service.
That's correct.
Okay. So when you initiated this encounter with Ms. Gomez and Mr. Garcia, you didn't have any reason to believe that any of the residents were afraid of these two, right?
That's correct.
Stolen vehicles was one of the things that you identified. But you initiated this encounter based upon not recognizing the car and seeing these people in the car.
That's correct.
And you didn't run the license plate or anything like that.
No,
You hadn't been familiar with the car matching that description being entered as stolen.
no,
So you had no reason to believe that the car that you were encountering was stolen at the time that you initiated this encounter, correct?
that's correct.
Okay. And quality of life, again, you're looking at two people in a car, right?
That's correct.
And they're not, it is early in the morning, but they're not being disruptive, right?
That's correct.
They're not disturbing the peace.
Correct.
Okay. No reason to believe that these people were squatting. You hadn't received any reports about squatters.
That's correct.
Okay. Okay. So basically, you initiate this encounter, and based on your testimony, you initiate this encounter because you recognize Jesus Garcia from the outset.
That's correct.
Okay. You'd agree with me, though, in the video, a few minutes pass before you're able to identify Jesus Garcia.
As I mentioned earlier, I was 90% sure that's who it was. I've dealt with them 30 times at least and written criminal citations from 5 times. So I was familiar with his face.
Okay, so your testimony today is that you initiate this encounter because you recognize Jesus Garcia,
That's correct. And what I see in his waistband as well,
which is a paintball gun.
that I couldn't tell at the time.
Okay. So you initiate this encounter because you recognize Jesus Garcia, and you recognize what is later identified as a paintball gun. You make a driver's side approach, right?
That's correct.
And you direct all of your attention at Miss Garcia or at Miss Gomez. Right?
What do you mean on my
Miss Gomez is the one that you pull out of the car.
Oh, that's correct.
Miss Gomez is the one that you bring back to the rear end of the car.
That's correct.
She's the one you're addressing.
Correct.
She's the one that you're talking to about the rules and regulations of the housing authority.
That's correct.
And it isn't until a few minutes later, after you've removed Miss Garcia from the car, Miss Gomez from the car, that you identify Mr. Garcia, right?
That's when it made 100% accuracy, if that's what it was.
Okay. All right, I want to talk to you about the way that this encounter proceeded. Okay, you talked about a little bit about escalation and de-escalation, right?
Correct.
Okay, so your testimony today is that the language that you used, which you'd agree with me is coarse, right? And they're like words that you can't say on radio or TV, right?
Correct.
4-letter words, impolite words.
That's correct.
Okay. Your testimony is that use of that kind of language is not taught at any of the training that you received, right?
That's correct.
It's not taught here at the police academy for Las Cruces Police Department, right?
That's correct.
Which you completed, right?
That's correct.
And it's not taught at the police academy that you attended or the public service academy you attended in Colorado Springs.
That's correct.
But you felt that it was necessary to use that language to let Ms. Gomez know that you wanted her to comply with her getting out of the car.
After I asked her, I believe it was 8 or 9 times, yes.
And so you start using the language, right?
That's correct.
You pulled out your taser and you pointed it at her, right?
That's correct.
And at that point, she agrees to get out of the car.
If I remember correctly, yes.
Okay. So you've made an escalation in your show of force. You'd agree with me.
Correct.
In order to gain compliance with what you wanted, right?
Correct.
Which at that point was for Ms. Gomez to step out of the car.
That's correct.
And once Ms. Gomez has stepped out of the car, I believe your testimony was that you were mad.
Correct.
And you were aware you were mad.
Yeah.
As an officer, right, you're trained to be cognizant of where you're at as far as the levels of your about how worked up you are, right?
I wouldn't say we're trained on it. We're just talked about it. Control yourself, things like that. But I don't recall any training that we've taken on that.
Okay, not even as a defensive tactics instructor.
Honestly, not that I can recall.
So during this encounter, you've already received the compliance you were looking for when you first started using that kind of language and when you first pulled out your taser, right?
Correct.
Because she stepped out of the car.
That's correct.
But you're still mad, right?
Yes. Yes.
And you're aware that you're still mad.
Yes.
And you're still using that language.
Yes.
And you're still using that language in spite of the fact that you've received the compliance you were looking for, which is Ms. Gomez stepping out of the car.
Correct.
Okay. And you, at that point, knowing that you're mad, and knowing that you have received the compliance you were looking for that in your mind necessitated the escalation in the first place, you should have taken steps to de-escalate yourself, right?
Yes.
And you didn't do that, did you?
No.
Okay. You kept using that same kind of language, that same kind of tone.
Yes. Trying
Okay.
to,
All right.
I'm sorry.
And when you notice Jesus Garcia,
Yes.
and you're able to identify him in your mind positively, but according to what's in the video for the first time, you identify him and your response was what, if you remember?
Holy Jesus fucking Garcia or something like that.
I would suggest to you that what you said was Jesus Garcia, holy fuck.
Okay. Yeah.
Now let's talk about the way that you dealt with Jesus Garcia. Okay. This was somebody that by your admission or by your statement, you've dealt with multiple times.
Correct.
And this was the person that that you saw in possession of what you believe might have been a firearm, which was later determined to be a paintball gun.
Correct.
You didn't see any weapons in Ms. Gomez's hands.
No.
So, and you had never had any dealings with her, right?
No.
And she's about 4'11", right? 5 feet tall, maybe.
I don't recall it. According to what the doctor said yesterday about that. Yeah,
And about 115 pounds?
about that.
Okay. And not armed at all?
No,
Not somebody that you've dealt with?
no.
And also somebody that has complied with your order to step out of the car, right?
Yeah, not initially, but yes.
And and herself is taking steps to de-escalate the situation, right?
Right,
And yet your attention is focused on Ms. Gomez and not toward Mr. Garcia, right?
correct,
And that's the case even though Mr. Garcia is the one you've dealt with before.
correct,
And Mr. Garcia is the one that had the thing that might have been a weapon, right?
correct,
So Mr. Garcia was the one who maybe potentially could have posed a danger to you.
potentially.
And in that moment, instead of focusing your attention on him or making sure that he was away from the item that you saw, you pulled her out of the car and walked her back to near the trunk of the car, right?
Correct,
And when you did that, you couldn't see into the car anymore, right?
correct,
So you couldn't see what Jesus Garcia was doing.
correct.
Okay. So you continue to have this interaction with Ms. Gomez,
Correct, sorry.
and eventually Ms. Gomez asked to get back into the car, right?
Correct,
And about that time is when you call out to Central Dispatch,
correct,
right? And what you called out was basically your location on Burley Court and that you were checking out with two code 24 individuals, right?
correct,
That happened more than 8 minutes into this encounter, right?
right. I believe
Alright.
so.
All right. So you're 8 minutes in, right? You've right?
Correct,
You've seen what you believe might be a firearm, turns out is a paintball gun, right?
correct,
You're dealing with somebody that you know has a warrant, right?
correct.
And in spite of all that, you still waited 8 minutes to create your Central Dispatch card, right?
Yes, again, they're passing warrants as far as I know, so.
Okay. So let's talk about this. And we've seen this video. In fact, let's just watch the video if you don't mind.
Okay.
We're gonna start with states 1A, Judge.
Josh, lights.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. There are these ones, but here, because you're missing, you're giving those some things out. Okay. Okay.
All right, we're starting states 1A at 0 seconds. All right, and I'm pausing it at 30 seconds. So you'd agree with me, right, that the first 30 seconds of that video doesn't have any sound, right?
That's correct.
And that's because when you hit record on your body cam, it basically, that's when it starts.
Wait, do you need the restroom?
Is that someone on Google Meets?
I don't think that's coming from my computer. I'm gonna unhook this. My apologies, Judge.
That's
If I could
okay.
just have a few seconds to get this background stuff cleared. I didn't see anything on my computer that would have been making that noise. So
Okay.
my apologies. Okay. All right, we're back into it here. So the first 30 seconds has no sound because when you start your recording, that's when the sound starts picking up.
Yes, there's a buffer. When you activate your camera, what it does is the camera reaches back 30 seconds and those 30 seconds don't have audio.
All right. So, and based on your testimony, at this point, you're already 90% sure that this is Jesus Garcia in the flesh.
Yes, that is correct.
Were you, the first thing we saw in this video was basically you riding up and stopping your bike,
Correct.
right? And you stop your bike, and then you shine your light into that vehicle.
Yes, you can't hear, but I identified myself.
Okay. But the video starts with you stopping and shining your light into the vehicle.
I shine my light as I identified myself.
Okay. So your testimony today is that at the time that you began this seizure, which you'd agree with me, right, begins when you shine your flashlight on him, right?
I wouldn't call it a seizure. I'm trying to light up the area to see what I'm looking at.
All right, but you lighting up the area is basically a show of your official authority, right?
I don't think so, because if I shine my light at the back of a building, I'm not really showing my authority there. I'm just
Well, these
trying to
are
light the area.
these are people that you notice there were people in the car, obviously,
Correct.
and when you shine your light on people, you're basically initiating a seizure on people, right?
I don't look at it like that, I guess. I'm sorry.
Okay. So is it your testimony today that before you shined your light into this vehicle, you knew that this was Jesus Garcia you were dealing with?
No, as I was shining my light into that vehicle and I announced myself, when he adjusted his hat, you can see his facial features with the cigarette in his mouth. That's when I knew 90% that was Jesus Garcia.
Okay. But you didn't know that before you shined your light in the vehicle?
That is correct.
Okay. And again, we went through all of the reasons that you had initiated your POP project, and none of those were applicable in this situation either, right?
Correct.
So for all you knew, before you shined your light in this vehicle, these could have been just two residents there, right?
Yeah, could have been.
And again, you say that you're familiar with the vehicles that are supposed to be there, but you're not informed every time somebody gets a new car, right?
No, but
You're not, and thank you, you're not informed every time there's a new resident that moves in, right?
that's correct.
And the residents there, to the extent that they do have visitors, don't have to get those visitors approved by you, right?
No, that's correct.
Okay. So basically at the time that you initiated this encounter by shining your light in the vehicle, you weren't aware of any crime that you were investigating, right?
That's correct.
Okay. All right, we're gonna go ahead and proceed here.
Window down. Leave your hands where I can see them.
And I'm pausing at 39. I just heard the Temptations there. Is that coming off of your phone or something else?
Yeah, my phone.
Okay, you usually would play music on your phone when you were doing these bike patrols?
Yes.
Okay. And the songs that we hear throughout is that's all of that's coming off your phone, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
Okay, just leave your hands where I can see them. I don't know that.
I should state for the record, we started the video again at 39. We're picking it up at 45, states 1A.
Window down, ma'am. Open the door. Step over here. Step over here.
We're not doing nothing wrong, sir. I'm looking for my keys. I can't find them. It's just a pinball gun.
Okay, what's in his waist right there?
It's a pinball gun.
No, that.
It's a pinball gun, sir.
Step out.
We're not doing nothing wrong, though.
Step out, ma'am.
I don't need to step out.
Step out now, or I'm gonna pull you out.
You cannot pull me out. I'll call your sergeant. I want to see your
Come on.
sergeant. I want your sergeant.
Ma'am.
Don't touch me.
Ma'am, step out,
Don't
please.
touch me.
Step out.
Don't touch me.
Step
I
out.
want to record this right now.
Go ahead. Step out.
I want to record this.
Ma'am.
Don't touch me.
Step out.
No.
Come on, hurry up.
No.
Who are you here visiting?
I'm Butterfly.
It's too late to be visiting Butterfly.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
I came out to look for my keys. I'm
This is
going
public
home.
housing, ma'am.
I
Step out.
understand that.
Step
No,
out.
no, sir. Don't touch me, sir.
Okay. You're gonna get tased.
No, they're not. They're taking.
Step out then.
I'm going to call.
Step.
nothing wrong.
You are. I'm asking you to step out. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Okay.
Step
I'll
out.
Step out. Why don't I step out though?
So I can talk to you. This guy has paintball guns. I don't know what else he has there. It doesn't matter, ma'am. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
It still looks like a fucking gun, does it not?
No.
Yes, it does.
Okay, I paused it at 2:08 here. I just want to go back again really quickly to the beginning of this encounter, just from 0 till about 10 seconds in.
Okay.
You shine your light, you announce your presence, and from outside the vehicle, it's a few seconds before you are able to make positive contact with them, that she opens the door, right?
Correct.
At that time, you're initiating an encounter with these individuals, right?
Correct.
And you're expecting compliance with your orders, right?
Correct.
Okay, but in those seconds from the moment that you decide you're initiating an encounter until you make contact with them, you didn't create a call card for central dispatch.
No.
Okay, and creating a call card only takes a matter of a couple of seconds, right?
Yes.
In fact, we see you do it later on in this video, right?
Correct.
And all it is you keying up on the radio, right? And you say 884 Central, show me at this address on Burley Court with 2 code 24 individuals.
Correct.
Right. What does your training say about when you should create a call card for central dispatch?
When it's feasible.
When it's feasible.
When you feel comfortable making one. Like, you don't have to make a radio call right away. It's whenever you feel like you have time to do one.
But you'd agree with me that it only takes a couple of seconds.
Oh, yeah.
And you'd
Sure.
agree with me that you had time to do it before this door ever opened, right?
Yes.
Okay. And you didn't do that.
No.
And the purpose of creating a call card with central dispatch, right, is it's an officer safety issue, right?
Correct.
That you want central dispatch to know where you are, right?
Correct.
And you want them to know who you're with, right?
Correct.
And you want them to know what you're doing, right?
Correct.
And the reason for that is that because policing is a dangerous job, you'd agree with me, right?
Correct.
That if something goes awry during that encounter, that your colleagues can find you, right?
Correct.
Okay. And in this instance, you're dealing with an area that you're familiar with, right?
Yes, sir.
That according to your project, one of the focuses is on violent crimes, right?
Correct.
That you've encountered an individual that you say you've already identified as a guy that has warrants, right?
Correct.
That you see in his possession something that at that time you thought might have been a gun.
Correct.
And you had sufficient time to create a call card with central dispatch at the outset of this incident. You agree with me?
Yeah.
Okay. And you didn't do that.
No.
All right. Mr. Hernandez, I want to ask you about those times when you were on FTO. Let's say that that you were FTO for a young officer, just graduated from the academy, and the officer initiates an encounter, sees all these things, and doesn't create a central dispatch card right away. How would you grade him on that
Objection,
decision?
Your Honor, relevance.
Objections overruled.
How would you grade him on that interaction?
I don't remember what the DOR is, but it'd be a low grade.
A low grade?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So what we've watched up to this point, we paused the video at 2:08.
Mr. Medina, Mr. Macias, Mr. Long, approach. Ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna break early for lunch. I have a meeting to attend to. So we're gonna break for lunch at 11:35 at this point. I'll have asked you to be back at the point where you guys enter the courtroom at 1:30. And as soon as everybody's checked in and ready to go, we'll get started and pick up testimony on the cross-examination of this witness. During the recess, again, do not discuss the case with your other jurors or any other person. Allow anyone to discuss the case with you. Avoid any publicity of this case. Do not read, listen, or watch any news accounts of the trial. Do not express any opinions about the case or form any fixed opinion until the case has finally been submitted to you. All right, please stand for the jury. We'll be in recess till 1:30. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're in recess till 1:30. Off the record.